Save as many as you can.
The first few minutes will be very disorienting.
Wake up.
Very disorienting. Remember to stay calm, focused. Instincts play a very important part, so trust them.
There's a storm coming. One morning you will wake up.
It's happened.
And that will be the day it begins. The time of the Gentiles will be fulfilled. God will speak. The saints will be gathered together, and the time of Jacob's trouble will commence. Are you ready?
What's up, everybody? It's JD. It's been a while. Just wanted to touch base, catch up with you guys. Talk about life. Talk about what's going on with me, what I think God's trying to show me to show to you. That type of stuff. I don't know what this is. I don't know why he's called me to show you guys stuff. I don't know. But what I do know is this. Something's going on today in the church and in Christian circles. It's going on all over the place, actually, where people have abandoned this concept of the blessed hope. This concept of when you see these things, look up, because your salvation draws nigh. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Because what else is there? I mean, listen, I know that for me, there's virtually no way I could get through this life without a belief that, God is for me and that He's coming to rescue me. Whether that's in my actual lifetime, where I'm still above ground breathing, or I'm in the ground and He calls us home. I don't know. What I do know is this. I believe a certain way. A very specific certain way. And in my studies, and I study this thing a lot, this is the central preoccupation of my life, reading this book, right? So I love this thing. I love prophecy more than anything. My dad just said to me the other day, not the other day, but not too long ago, because you remember when you were a kid and you went to the library and did a little book report on Ted Turner, and you came back and told us that he was the Antichrist. You were like 11, 12 years old. I laughed. I said, yeah, I remember that for sure. His name is Robert Edward Turner, 666. To a 12-year-old, that makes perfect sense, right? So, anyway, so I'm into this stuff and I love it. And one of the things that I hear people say is this argument that the Rapture's a new thing. It wasn't until Darby that people started talking about that. And, that's just not true at all. And I'm going to read you a psalm. And it's funny because I argue a lot. Well, I wouldn't say argue, but debate with some of the heavy hitters that you guys probably watch on YouTube about this. And they just want to see something or they don't want to see what's directly in front of their face. I don't understand the positions that people take, and then they just entrench themselves, and they're not going to move to the left or to the right no matter what the scripture says. Oh well. So check it out. Psalms 50. Open your Bibles. Get it out. Psalms 50. It says, "The mighty God, even the Lord, hath spoken, and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. Woo! Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God hath shined. Our God shall come and shall not keep silence. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very tempestuous round about him. He shall call to the heavens from above, and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judge himself. Selah. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel, and I will testify against thee. I am God, even thy God. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he-goats out of the folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto God thanksgiving, and pay thy vows unto the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. But unto the wicked, God saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Seeing thou hatest instruction, and castest my words behind thee, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentedst with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself. But I will reprove thee, and set them in order before thine eyes. Now consider this, ye that forget God, lest I tear you in pieces, and there be none to deliver. Whoso offereth praise glorifieth me, and to him that ordereth his conversation aright will I show the salvation of God." Whew. Now listen, that might have just gone over your head, but I'll break it down right now, verse by verse. It's pretty awesome. And I'm gonna cross-reference here. I'm gonna show you guys some stuff. Oh man, my battery's getting low. Woo, I need to charge up my battery. Ooh.
We create small batches of freshly roasted coffee delivered directly from our door to yours. Best day ever.
What's up? I'm back. So, let me try to get my train of thought back. Father God, I'd ask for my train of thought back. Okay, so I left off at the Psalms 50 stuff. So let's just get down to the brass tacks about what I want to show you in this. So there's a sequence of events. There's a sequence of events that happen in the latter days. And the sun goes dark and the moon goes dark and the stars fall from heaven. So you see that sequence quite a bit throughout Scripture. And it doesn't happen twice. So when you see this being alluded to, when the sun goes dark and the moon goes dark, you can clearly tell that it's talking about this one particular event. So after pouring through the scriptures and trying to figure out, just sort of having that impressed upon me that there was a sequence of events, right? Sun goes dark, moon goes dark, stars fall from heaven. I started to connect the dots and realize, like, okay, this literally is one event, and that you can set your watch sort of. Now, here's the tricky part. You don't necessarily know when this event's going to take place in the whole scheme of things, but you can clearly tell what happens prior and what happens after. So I'm not a date setter. I don't know when this stuff's going to happen. Listen, I've been thinking that Jesus was going to come back, Yeshua HaMashiach, since I was a kid. I thought for sure it would have been way over by now, and I would have been wrong, right? So, anyway, I noticed this sequence: sun, moon, stars, boom. And once I started to piece together, I noticed something really interesting. What causes the sun to go dark and the moon to go dark and the stars to fall from heaven? Like, there has to be a cause to have the effect, right? So when I was in Revelation 6, I noticed this really interesting thing where it talks about the sun going dark, the moon going dark, and the stars fall from heaven, right? And it made an allusion to the fig tree casting her untimely figs off, right? So all of a sudden I saw this parallel that these figs were the fallen angels, and they get cast out of heaven, and that's the stars falling from heaven, right? So if you go to Psalms 82, the first 2 verses in Psalms 82, angels are getting rebuked. The next few verses, a charge is being given to new angels, and then God reverts back and literally talks to the first angels he was speaking to in the latter half of that psalm, and he says, "You are all children of the Most High, but you're going to die like men and fall as one of the princes." See, that's an event. Angels are going to die like men, and they're going to fall like one of the princes. They're going to fall like a prince. So what does that mean? So for angels to die like men, they have to be in a physical body, in a skin suit. They have to be in a skin suit, right? For an angel to die like a man, he's literally put into a skin suit. If you can go back and find one example in the Bible for me that shows you an angel appearing without a body, show me one example, because I've never personally seen one. Every time I see a record of an angel, they appear in human form, right? Seemingly, when they're interacting with man, right? So I suppose there could be a case where he sends these evil angels and maybe they couldn't be seen. I don't know. But I do know this, is that when angels interact with man, they're in skin suits. And so for an angel to die like a man, he's got to be in a skin, right? Which is really interesting, because if you think about Revelation 12, Michael, after the woman gives birth, very key point, after the woman gives birth, suddenly Michael fights with angels and casts them down to the earth, right? And then in the next chapter, Revelation 13, the Antichrist appears. So to me, you see a perfect sequence of events that lines up with Psalms 82, right? Angels they don't just fall from heaven, they get cast out of heaven, right? It's going to be a spectacular thing. And what's really interesting is if you think about Revelation 13, suddenly the Antichrist is on the scene, and he's got a host with him, right? And if you juxtapose that over Matthew 24, this is when you can see these false prophets doing magic tricks and literally persuading people to fall away, right? But when does that happen? When do those events happen, right? A very telling thing in Matthew 24, when Jesus gives the command, he tells them, like, if you're up on the rooftop, don't come down and get your stuff. If you're out in the field, don't do that. Why would people be on a rooftop or out in a field? What's going on that he would tell them don't come back when they see this thing happen, right? Clearly, to me, he's giving us a clue saying, like, also too, he tells us to look up when we see these things start to happen. So people are up on their roof. So one interesting thing about what Jesus tells you, gives you this really interesting clue in Matthew 24. He says, when I come back, the lightning is going to shine from the east to the west. Well, that east to the west reference, to me, is a one-day event. Similarly to how Psalms 50 says this, the mighty God, even the Lord, hath spoken, and called the earth from the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof. See, the rising of the sun unto the going down thereof is equivalent to me to denote a day, the rising of the sun is going down from morning to night, right? And then it says, out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God hath shined. Now, interestingly, the word God there means Elohim. Elohim is a spirit being, doesn't necessarily mean God. Interestingly, I'm going to cross-reference a really fun verse for you. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God hath shined. Well, what is Zion? It's always been a really interesting thing. Like, what is Zion? What is it? Is it a place? I'm not sure. But I can tell you this. Psalms 125 says, they that trust in the Lord, YHWH, Yahweh or Yahuwah, shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever. What? So let's just say this. In the King James Version, which is what I'm reading out of, that shall be as isn't in there. Or shall be isn't in there. So it could read, they that trust in the Lord as or are Mount Zion. So let me ask you a question. When we get our new bodies, right? Are we one with Christ? I know people say we're one with Him now, and okay, fine. I can hear that, man. We're in the heavenly, seated with Him, and all that. But you have to admit, you haven't gotten your new body. Everything's on faith right now. There's no necessarily proof of anything. But it says, they that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, right? Think about that. So if we're going to be Zion, and it says, out of Zion the perfection of beauty, God hath shined, or Elohim hath shined. And then it says, our God, or our Elohim shall come and shall not keep silence. A fire shall devour before him, and it shall be very tempestuous round about him. Well, if you go look at that, a fire shall go before him, that could be lightning. Think about it. It could be lightning. So that lines up perfectly. Jesus says that at his coming, lightning's going to shine from the east to the west. This says that God's going to call the earth from the rising of the sun to its going down. And fire's going to go before him. Could that be lightning? Maybe. I think it might be. Now, really interesting, and this is where I can really get into it with some of my good pals. And my good pals, you know who you are. But it says, he shall call to the heavens from above. So where is he when he makes that call? He's above the heavens, right? And then it says, and to the earth. So wait a minute. He shall call to the heavens and to the earth. So that's two calls, right? Interesting. He shall call to the heavens from where? From above, and to the earth. Why? That he may judge his people. Interesting. Uh-oh. Father, we pray for that situation in the name of Yeshua. So it says that he's going to call to the heavens and to the earth. So there are going to be two calls for the purpose of judging his people. And then it says, gather my saints together unto me, those who have made a covenant with me by sacrifice, or if you go and look at the definition, by slaughtering, right? Either one of those Now people will say like, hey man, we didn't make a covenant with God by sacrifice or by slaughtering. But I would say that yes, we did, because we accepted Jesus, and that was a covenant, right? That's our covenant, and Jesus was the sacrifice, or even the slaughtering, right? It says he gathers his saints together. Now, I've had preachers and heavy duty hitters tell me like, hey man, that doesn't matter. Like, that's just proof for us, because that means that this is going to happen, you know, when he gathers his saints. That's at the end, because it says that the Antichrist has power to wage war against the saints, right? So what? You don't think that there are going to be saints on the earth after they've literally witnessed this gathering together of the saints? You don't think after the earth witnesses this, all the people that I've told about Jesus and what's coming, and they all like laughed at me and spurned it and were like, pfft. You don't think that all those people are suddenly going to be like, whoa, after this great, think about it. It says, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And then it says, and the heavens shall declare his righteousness. When we go up shouting his name. Ready? Let's cross-reference. Psalms 74:5. What does it say? Do-do-do-do. Psalm 74:5. I think it's 74:5 anyway. If my memory serves me correctly, Psalm 74:5 says that says that God goes up with a shout. Let's see. Oh no, Psalm 74:4 is the one that I was talking about. So let's go to Psalms 47:5. Maybe my dyslexia, the spirit of dyslexia is trying to take a hold. Yes, it's 47:5. It says, God is gone up with a shout, the Lord with the sound of a trumpet. What? God has gone up with a shout, the Lord with the sound of a trumpet. Wait a minute. Is it possible that that's misinterpreted? Because the word God there means Elohim. It's the word Elohim. So why is God going up? So wait a second. So for God to go up, that means that he had to come down and then going back up again? Like, show me in context in the overall scheme of the story. Where is that going to happen? I think it's better translated that Elohim has gone up with a shout, or in other words, the rapture, right? Elohim is going to be you, because you're a spirit being. Once you get your new body, guess what? You're going up with a shout. And then I believe we're going to go up shouting his name, right? Because it says the Lord here. It says God has gone up with a shout, the Lord with the sound of a trumpet. Wait a minute. I think we go up shouting his name. That's what I believe. I believe we go up shouting his name, where it says, the heavens shall declare his righteousness. Absolutely. We're going to go up shouting his name, singing praises, declaring that Jesus Christ is King of kings and Lord of lords. You don't think that's going to be the case when you are going up in the rapture? I think it is. So it says that he gathers his saints together unto himself, right? Psalms 50 verse 5, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. Okay, so if you can at least agree that that's the gathering of the saints, or that word means chesed, in the Hebrew is chesed, right? It means like holy one, right? So like, I got news for you. After you get your new body, what? You're holy. You're literally like new again. You're born again at that moment with a new body. Then it says, and the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judge himself. Selah. Now interesting, right? That just told you the call that God made from above to the heavens. But what about the call to the earth? Well, let's go to verse 7. Psalms 50 verse 7. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel, and I will testify against thee. What? Why is he testifying against Israel? I am God, even thy God. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he-goats out of thy folds. Now, if you go and read through this, basically, the rest of this Psalms 50, it seems like the Father is going wild on Israel because they're seemingly have reinstituted sacrifices of animals. And then he says in verse 15, Psalms 50 verse 15, and call upon me in the day of trouble, I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. What day of trouble? I think we all know that's Jacob's trouble he's talking about. So if you think about this, Psalms 50, it gives you a clear play-by-play of what's going to happen. It says that God's going to call to the earth from the rising of the sun to its going down for a whole day. And what's that day comprised of? Literally, he's going to gather his saints together unto himself. And where is he when he makes that call? He's above the heavens. So Jesus says that I'm going to go prepare a place for you, that where I am you may be also. That's the place we're going, right? Now, I want you to think about this. What? This is the greatest thing ever. So, I think about dying a lot, right? And I think about what it's going to be like to cross over, right? And so I memorized Psalms 23. I'm going to read it to you right now. But it's the whole Lord is my shepherd one. It says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Ooh. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Why? For thou art with me. Wait. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Now this is what's really interesting. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. What? So wait a minute. He prepares a table? What? A table for what? That sounds like a banquet to me. Before his enemies? Wait a minute, what? So there's going to be, who are your enemies? Do you think that your enemies are like your flesh and blood enemies here on earth, if you have any? Excuse me, you think those are your enemies? Those aren't your enemies. Those aren't your enemies. Your enemies, you can't see them, right? You might think so. You might think you're flesh and blood enemies, but you really don't. So the Father's going to prepare a table for us in the presence of our enemies. For what? Like, that's for us to eat and essentially party and have a party, right? So think about that. When does that event happen? Right? Well, if you look at Psalms 1, it says that there's going to be a congregation that's going to gather, right? Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment. Psalms 1 verse 5. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. Now wait a minute. There's a congregation of the righteous. When does that happen? Well, if we go to Psalms 82, it says, God standeth in the congregation of the mighty, he judgeth among the gods. That's the congregation right there. There's going to be a judgment. So, okay, JD, that's great. So, like, explain this to me. I don't understand. How does this fit in with the stars? The sun going dark and the moon going dark and the stars fall from heaven. Well, if we go to Revelation, chapter 6, right? Revelation chapter 6. We see the seals are getting opened, right? Interestingly, it says that a white horse, and I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. A crown. That's a crowning event. And he went forth conquering. That means overcoming. He went forth overcoming what? Well, listen, in almost every single usage of that word, conquering, or, that means to overcome. And when you open and also too, one thing that denotes this is when this seal is cracked, the first seal, it's with the sound of thunder, right? So that sound of thunder is attributed only to God. When God speaks, you hear thunder. Okay, so what we have here, once we get into Revelation 6, after the fifth seal is cracked, it's the sixth seal rather. It says, when I beheld, when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So, I want you to think about the fig tree in this instance. A lot of people say that the fig tree represents Israel. I don't necessarily believe that for a minute. Now, I want you to think about the story of Jesus when he goes by a fig tree and he looks for fruit on it, and there's no fruit on it, and he curses the fig tree. The next day, when him and the disciples are walking by it again, the fig tree's already withered and died. And the disciples are like, whoa, what happened? Jesus, look at this, crazy, right? And Jesus is like, don't marvel at this. You guys are going to do this also. What? They're going to do what also? They're going to curse a fig tree so that it withers and dies? Wait a minute. A fig tree? Wait a second. Doesn't that... How are the disciples are going to do this to a fig tree? And what? A fig... Why? The stars are likened to untimely figs in the fig tree. There you go. There's your cross reference right there. Jesus tells us we're gonna curse a fig tree, and then it says here, the stars are gonna fall unto the earth, even as a fig tree. So that's fallen angels. And when does that happen? Revelation 12, Michael with angels fights Lucifer and casts his angels down. Who do you think those angels are? Doesn't Jesus tell us that we are gonna be as the angels are? Whoa. Now juxtapose that against Psalms 82 I just showed you. This congregation happens, and God is rebuking these fallen angels. These angels, he says, listen, ready? Let's go to Psalm 82. God standeth in the congregation of the mighty. He judgeth among the gods. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Selah. He asked them a point blank question. How long will we judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? He is literally chastising the fallen. Or maybe they're not fallen quite yet, like cast out of heaven fallen, but they're at this congregation and the Father is rebuking them. And then it says in verse 3, defend the poor and fatherless, do justice to the afflicted and needy, deliver the poor and needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. So wait a second.
Life is short. Treat yourself. Drink Best Day Ever coffee. We're in the smiles business. Check us out at bestdayevercoffee.com.
Something has happened. There clearly to me is a time frame that in between verses 2 and 3, something has happened. So my contention is this, is that those guys were cast out of heaven at this point. And we are getting this new charge because he says that we're going to be as the angels are. Essentially, we're going to take over their duties. So defend the poor and fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. Wait a minute. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. Who's walking on in darkness? All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Wait a second. What? I have said, ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High, but ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all the nations. Wait a minute. Arise, O God, that means O Elohim, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit the nations, all nations. Do you see what's happening here? Who's in darkness? All the foundations are out of course. Deliver the poor and needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked. What has happened here? These angels have been judged and cast out of heaven, and now they're down on earth persecuting the woman. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. Doesn't it say in Revelation 12 that the woman gets persecuted for a time? They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. What do you mean darkness? Well, the sun has gone dark and the moon has gone dark and the stars have fallen from heaven and they're persecuting the people of earth. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. So listen, there's a sequence of events. What kicks it all off? What kicks this earthquake off? My contention is this. If you look at Revelation 6 verse 1 and 2, it literally talks about a crowning event. The rider on the white horse getting a crown, going forth to conquer and conquering, right? He's got a bow. Do the research on the word bow. Do your research on the word conquering. It's unbelievable. You'll come to realize, like, wait a minute, this word is almost specifically set apart for overcomers, right? Like overcoming the enemy. So folks, we're getting close. Look around. Look up. You can see all these crazy signs starting to happen. Look at all the stuff that's happened in the last couple of years with Trump and Israel. Look at all this stuff going on. This old world order is being destroyed by Donald Trump to bring in what? The new world order. We all think like, oh, they're trying to do this world order stuff and Donald Trump's saving the day. But in reality, what you're seeing is the old order's got to go away before the new order comes in. Why do you think they have all these references to the phoenix and rising out of the ashes? The old everything is going to be destroyed. And out of the ashes, this new thing's going to come. We live in exciting times. My question is this. Are you sure you're set apart for Jesus? Are you sure that when you hear this day, this specific day where God's going to call the earth from the rising of the sun to its going down, and lightning and thunder, and it's just crazy outside, and you're looking up to see what's going on, like, are you sure that you're ready? Now, I'll have a lot of people be like, what do you mean? Oh my goodness, that sounds works-based. No, that's not what I mean, right? My thing is this, is if you knew, right, that Jesus was coming back tomorrow, would you be doing stuff different today? Because if you would, that, my friend, is what you should be doing today instead of tomorrow. Don't put that kind of stuff off. You know, I'm a firm believer that you don't know how much time you have. My brother just died in April at 53 years old. Think about that. 53. My brother died. It's been a rough year for me. Our baby died in last September. Not this one, but the one before. So it's been a year and change now. And then my brother dies. And like, talk about understanding the impermanence of this journey we're on. You don't know when your race is going to be up. Are you sure you're set? Are you comfortable with your relationship? Do you have unfinished business? Let me ask you this. Let's just say, because one of the things about this blessed hope rapture debate is that people from both sides of the aisle have fantastic ammunition to come to their beliefs, right? I don't begrudge these people who don't believe in the blessed hope. I realize that those people are playing their part, right? Maybe the Father literally sent them that strong delusion and it affects them. Because I see this parable, and again, people will be like, you don't rightly divide. Yeah, okay. But the parable where it talks about the banquet supper, and he goes out and invites everybody, and they're like, nah, I got stuff to do. There's a lot of Christians down here who have stuff to do. They are literally the ones running around scoffing and mocking, saying, where's the promise of his coming? See, I always thought that was going to be for unbelievers, laughing at me, being like, you've been saying that forever. And although people who don't believe definitely, for sure, say that kind of stuff to me, like, you've been saying this forever, I still believe it, that it could happen any minute, right? I don't care. Those people are fulfilling a very specific part, right? So if you think about the Old or the New Testament, it gives you all these parables, and essentially it's telling you, like, hey man, there are going to be people playing these parts. They're going to be doing this, right? There are going to be people playing the part where they're not going to repent of their wickedness, even though they've seen everything happen. They're going to be like, nope, not doing it. No! They're going to hold on. They are. It says so. There are people that are going to be like, yo, I just got married. Sorry, God, got stuff to do. I just started a business. Which, by the way, I did start a business.
I'm JD, and this is my nephew Kyle.
What's up?
We love coffee, so we started a coffee company. We specialize in small batch, freshly roasted premium coffee delivered directly to your door. Choose from a wide selection of single origins and organic coffees from around the world. And if you like flavored coffee, we have specialty flavors like chocolate coconut, salted caramel, chocolate raspberry, French vanilla, and many more. We also have a new fan favorite, maple bacon. Life is short. Treat yourself. Drink bestdayevercoffee.com.
Woo! I did start a company called Best Day Ever Coffee Company. The long and short of it is that I lost my job. YouTube demonetized everything, so I had to figure something out. So I love coffee. Figured I'd start a coffee company. My wife makes, and I also, we make these candles too. So we go around to little farmers markets. Hey, bingo, shh. We go around to little farmers markets, and I make tie-dyes. We make 100% all natural honeybees candles, and I sell coffee, right? I roast coffee and we ship it all over the country. So if you like fresh coffee, this is a way that you can support me. One of the reasons why I haven't been doing lots of videos is because I'm busy trying to get things off the ground, right? So what I can tell you is that and this is sort of what the video was supposed to be about, and I'll get to it at another time. But in Revelation 12, there's two times that a third of the heaven is cast down to earth. One time says that the dragon takes his tail and he casts a third of the stars down to earth. And then the next part, it says that Michael and his angels cast a third of those angels down. I think that first part where the dragon takes his tail down is to send wicked ones here to persecute, literally to ramp it up against the saints who are here, right? I believe that we're in like a pre-trib tribulation, right? So like there are people out there that are like, we're not in the tribulation yet. And I would say, okay, well, tell that to the people over in the Middle East who are getting killed for their faith. You're trying to tell me that that's not tribulation? You're trying to tell me that me being under the attack that I've been under for the last year isn't tribulation? It is tribulation. It's personal tribulation. It might not be the great tribulation, but I for sure am facing trials and tribulations. If you're a Christian and you believe in Jesus and all that, and you're not facing hardship right now, like, whoa, wow, I would be second guessing certain things, right? So listen, Jesus didn't promise us a cakewalk. He said that this is going to be real difficult and that the world is going to hate us. And if you're just having a cakewalk of a life and you're not under attack, I really have to wonder, like, are you in the middle of God's will? Because I see God sent us into a war, right? And war's ugly and messy and sticky, and people get killed and hurt and maimed and lose everything. And I just look around, there's a lot of like Christians out there that, they don't have a care in the world hardly. No money problems, living on the tops of mountains. Like, are you kidding me? Got more money in the bank than they'll ever be able to spend in their lifetime? Please. That's not I never saw that Christianity in my Bible. It doesn't say anything about that. Ever, anywhere about that. As a matter of fact, it says the opposite. It says that life is going to be tough for Christians. That the world is going to hate us. Well, who runs this world? Who runs the money? Come on. So, whatever. Maybe that's just me personally. Maybe I'm just mad that I look around and I see a lot of quote-unquote blessed people out there. But I don't necessarily buy that at all anymore. What did Jesus tell the rich man to do? Sell all his stuff. I don't see a lot of Christians selling all their stuff and giving that money to the poor. That's for sure. Anyway, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. That's a whole other thing. I just got to keep my side of the street clean. What I have to do for me and what you have to do for you, just keep your own stuff together. Don't look to the left, don't look to the right, just look straight ahead and try to run your race that's been marked out specifically for you. And if you don't know Jesus, you better get on that. You better seek him while he may be found. Because I got news for you. Tick tock, time is short. Anyway, best day ever. Buy some coffee. bestdayevercoffee.com. God bless you guys. I'll try to keep these coming. I got lots to say. I still do my Psalms and Proverbs in the morning, every morning. And, I have this inkling to do videos every day. But, to be honest with you, it's been a tough time. I had to, after the baby died, I had to really figure out how to become okay with God again, right? Because that was really confusing to me, that he didn't step in and do some kind of miracle stuff. And I realized that it's not how he operates necessarily, right? So, anyway, God bless you guys. Best day ever. Go get some coffee. bestdayevercoffee.com. You won't be disappointed. It's the best coffee planet Earth has to offer. Anyway, take care. God bless you all.